Hello everybody. Different skin color, different voice, different accent. Mark here, and hello. We've done the quickest change around we would have hoped for, but we had to get the infrared camera on has been quite a feat.
Yeah, net's coming.
And oh, there's the radio going. And I swapped places with Patrick. Patrick's heading home, and we've now got the infrared camera on. Annette has fortunately managed to stay with the lion, so we're going to try and hook up with her right now and get back to them with the infrared lights. So if you'll just excuse me for a sec, I just need to contact her and find out what's going on. I can see something up ahead.
I don't know how long I can actually follow them.
Okay, yeah, wildebeest.
No problem. Yeah, no, I'm right here though.
And there's buffalo, and they're running. And we better. Oh, gosh. All right, these buff are. Okay, these buff are running from the lion, and they're crashing. No, I can't shine lights. They're just crashing through bushes. Okay, and then I've just had some Inyati come crashing past me, so I'm on Philemon's cut line and I'm heading down towards that open area for the Sundowner open area.
Okay, Mark, I'm not too they were on Philemon's cut line, and then before that open area we actually turned to the west, and they're here in the thicket. I'm still with them, I'm following them, but I don't know for how long.
Okay, copy. I think I'm close by. Maybe if you could shine your spotlight in the air for me, please. Okay, thanks. I got you. I'll be on my way now.
Cheers.
Look at the sign for Batman. I don't know what spooked these buffalo. I know I should get the headlights on. There we go. I don't know what spooked those buffalo. And I hope he didn't injure himself. And it was actually after I had moved the light off of him that he crashed through some dead twigs. Buffalo are pretty thick-skinned, but it might, sadly, it might have been that I just flashed on him for a bit, and it might have just blinded him long enough. But those buffs probably picked up a whiff of cat, a whiff of lion, a whiff of Styx pride, and boy, are they barreling through the bush. I do have a light visual. I'm thinking that it's Annette. We're going to get down close as we can to her on the road. And this is kind of thing that we've been waiting for months. A chance when the Styx pride or the Kahumas, either one of them, end up crossing over Gowrie Main, coming towards Western Gowrie. And they are on the move and they are on the hunt. There's not much doubt about that. Funny enough, I said earlier, the wonderful little herd of wildebeest has just come back to quarantine, and it's just sad that it happens to be at the same time that the Styx just cross over quarantine, or rather cross over Gowrie Main and are heading towards quarantine. And here we are, back with them now. Well, sadly they're not heading west enough for quarantine. Okay, Annette, I'm on the road. Thanks so much for staying with them.
No problem, I just don't know where all of them are.
That's okay. I don't know what the buff was spooked for, because they were far away from these cats. This is one of the youngsters, and he's got nose to the ground. He's following. Oh gosh, yeah, cubs are running. So that's, oh gosh, sorry, wasn't looking. But these are the youngsters, and my guess is that the females. I think the females have done something, because these are two youngsters. Did you only have two, Annette?
I think there there was 3 youngsters, but I couldn't see. I think maybe the females are still behind us, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they're all up front.
Oh, okay.
You see how fast suddenly the youngsters are moving. They're trying to catch up with the mothers.
Oh, okay.
I'll still go to you guys with, just confirm they're still mobile west.
Yeah, affirmative.
So then it's yeah, and I'm just on Gary May. I'll make my way around to Triple M then, just go by there.
Okay, copied. There's going to be a reunion here, and it's going to be behind the bush. Look at this.
I think there's also 1 female, just count them, but there's still 1 female that's limping, that's still behind us.
Pardon? Yeah, no, sure. That was actually a young male, it wasn't a female, but there was a young male waiting for these 2 other youngsters to come and join up. Yeah, I'm going to try and move the vehicle more than having to move my head. So we now got up to got up to 4 of them. I'm going to check none coming to our right, and I'm blocking off any others coming in. After all of this, we really soon.
Coming down, yeah, lots of it, eh? Yeah, I just have to confirm with Karen and Greg and everybody in Kaya, and then I'll...
Sure. But this is the way it is living with lion. Sound breakups. Okay, thanks. Need to head more west, into higher ground here. Looks like we're catching up to maybe a lioness or 2 now as well. Yeah, more lionesses appearing. There must have been a hunt on the way, and I think it was the fact that they were hunting. Of course, with all the vehicles, they're not that many, but us, Annette moving around, there seems to be another vehicle. I'm not sure who it is. Could be maybe cruise camp. But it would appear that there was a hunt underway while we were doing this whole swap over and stuff. That is what accounted for, or that what will account for the fact that those buffalo were so spooked. They must have heard alarm calls, they must have heard some grunts and things from the lion, and they just chose to hightail it out of there in sort of 180 degrees opposite direction. We've got 1 lioness now that's joined up with these 4 cubs again. We'll see if she joins up with the rest of... Oops. See if she joins up with the rest of the pride. There we go. Way up in the distance I can see some other lionesses. They're all heading back towards the rest of the main hub of the pride, and then we'll get to see who's here, how many are here, and clearly they haven't been successful. A successful kill. These cubs other lionesses would have rushed into a feeding frenzy. Well, very earlier this morning, but oops. But out in the open, the Treehouse Dam, when I came back from Kluvokani today, they were lying in a posture that told me that they'd been eating and that they're still digesting. I don't know, plunge you all into darkness, but just briefly looking around elsewhere, getting my bearings, and we'll just keep trying following them. The wonderful thing is that it looks like there's a vehicle waiting down on Triple M maybe, and they, instead of heading down towards Triple M where we're going to lose them, a good chance now heading more west that we're going to keep them within our area. Pardon? Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, we're gonna be heading into a really bad signal area now. Pardon? Yeah, Wilder, sorry, my radio's been down if anybody's been trying to contact me for Ngala.
Yeah, Mark, no one's trying to contact you. I'm just still standing by here on Triple M.
Copy, I see your light, thanks.
No problem, they're still moving.
Affirmative. Looks like they're starting to move an angle to Triple M.
That's good, as long as they keep saying this, I'll be happy.
Sorry, who am I speaking to?
Yeah, you speak. Yeah, there were some Mangwa here and Gaya, man, but Triple M, they've just got legs.
Something a few minutes ago.
Okay, copy that. Yeah, now the Mangwa got leg, no?
Yeah, now they've gone back into hunt mode. I'm just switching off briefly.
Copy that.
Saying that there was some zebra around. Unfortunately, we just got to, with things the way they are. Pardon? Ah, gee, of course. Okay, we're on infrared. I don't need to flash my spotlight. Okay, the beauty of technology. I curse it with earpieces in my ear, but I bless it now because I can sit here in the darkness with a lioness in front of me on infrared. I haven't done this since the Salou in 1999 with Goran from Uppsala University doing his PhD. The two of us used to go out at night and follow our Rebecca and Rachel. And lionesses named after movie stars. Yeah, well. There's a yes, guys, look at this. There's a stalk going on here. When she takes off, Pete, I hope you're ready to follow her because she's going to take off like a lioness after a zebra.
Yeah, Mark, you still got it.
Yeah, affirmative. I'm using infrared cameras at the moment, so I've still got a very good visual. I've got one female in front of me that's sort of in full stalk mode.
Okay, copy that, thank you.
I've had another female sort of head off to my left, or rather my right rear, It's like a pincher movement, so they're definitely marking for something at the moment.
You think I might be in their line at this stage?
No, I think you're probably in a pretty good position.
Okay. As long as they don't run into me, I'm happy.
Yeah, but just don't switch on lights if there's noise. This is where patience of the cat comes in. I mean, we find it difficult to hold a posture for long, and we have mime artists that are able to do it. But a cat can stand like that until the moment is right to hunt, because just the slightest movement, the slightest noise, and the slightest interference in her surroundings can interfere in the hunt. And if there was ever a cat poised, this is a perfect example of it. We are now fully in infrared. To the naked eye, as humans, it's pitch black around us. It might look like a frozen screen, but it's not. This is a lioness. In fact, there she looks like she was putting down her left paw, or she was finding a place for it so that she could transfer her weight from her right to her left. There we go. Just trying to find an easier posture to wait. Both back legs. Oh no, come back, monitor, come back. There we go. Got to coax my monitor back into life. There we go. Good. It's almost as though both back legs are facing forward to give a maximum spring effect. Judging by her posture, she's ready to take off to the right. No, well, there's that coral vehicle getting impatient. Fortunately, it seems like Lion have ignored that vehicle moving. Hopefully, whatever it is. Sorry, I'll just put it.
Yeah, Mark, come in.
Here I go.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave the area. I've got to find Bakara.
Okay, sorry about that, but yeah, no, she's still poised for attack here, and there's just no movement at the moment. They're still stalking.
Alright, you copy. I hope maybe tomorrow might booger them, I hope. Thanks, Mark, for the...
You're welcome, Famagash.
Yeah, will do, thank you.
And now we're on our own.
Thank you, Ned.
Ned Vassier.
I think she might even be closed down by now.
Yeah, okay, copied. Thanks, Mark. Take care, bud.
No worries, thanks, man. I'm going to go over to the Eastern Channel. Will you just let me know what happened on the Eastern Channel?
Sure, we'll do. Otherwise, I'll let Ryan or Andre know.
Okay, cool, no, thank you.
That concentration, we had this with Sandy Patch just before I went on leave. We've had this with Tingana and Seka and Karula lately, or I have at least, but I can remember. Maybe not Tingana, or was it her? But anyways, this is something you can't get enough of. I mean, I love my elephants, and my moments with elephants are always precious. But this intensity that takes place on a night like this with pitch blackness and the moon, I mean, we're in a waning crescent moon at the moment, getting close to new moon, new year for some, and the moon's only rising very, very early in the morning, so we've got very dark nights. Clear sky, so there's a fair amount of starlight, little bit of artificial light coming off of the very western sky from the likes of some towns like Acorn Hook and Kluvokani. But there's some serious concentration here, and I think there's a good chance something's going to go down right now. We do have to keep into account that strike rate or success rate in hunting is very, very limited. Nature doesn't allow the predators, especially the apex predators, doesn't allow them to be successful every single time they hunt. They really have to work for their food, and it's all governed by energy dynamics. What you take in, you store, you save for the next time you need to eat. And the law goes, if you use too much trying to get something to eat and you miss, you don't have enough energy to strike again. So each of the predators are governed by the amount of energy they can expend in a hunt. Look at these careful steps that she's taking. She takes time to place that front left foot, and as soon as she feels that it's safe enough to transfer her weight, she'll put her weight. There she is. She's slowly putting her weight onto that front left, and then she'll slowly lift up her right. There we go. Slowly lifting up the right front, and going to do the same. If I knew these lionesses better, and I knew their hierarchy, and I knew who the alpha female was, there's so many ifs. If I could have stayed with her, and she would be initiating the hunt. For all we know, this might be her. She sent maybe one of her females around to the left, and another female's gone around to the right. They'll make a rush for it, and gosh, I can't say what will happen. I have no idea what they're aiming for. The vehicle that just left from Nkoro had an indication that there's some zebra up ahead, and I don't know how far they are. Judging by her posture and her focus, they're not too far ahead. I can hear hoof marks. I can hear running. You can see her. You can see she's following the sound as much as I'm following the sound. The zebras seem to have moved on. It could be that they're not even going to continue with the hunt, because none of them have made a lunge, or they're just going to wait until the zebra settle down again. Pardon? Okay. But her whole posture has changed now. You can see that the hunt seems to be over. The zebra, I heard hoof pounding the ground, and she's gone back into a relaxed posture now. Actually, I have to be honest, doesn't mean really that the hunt is over. I would say the hunt is suspended. If the hunt was over, they'd all regroup. And what her body language is telling me, that she's now just simply sitting down where she is, hoping that they will all reassess the situation and maybe try a different angle. Oops. I have to remind you that, particularly because there's no moon right now, and there's some pretty good starlight and a little bit of light in the west from town lights, we're sitting in pitch darkness. I've got the light from my monitor and the light from the ignition, and the two buttons on the radio, and that's about it that are in front of me. And those lights are pretty much blinding me to anything other than the shape of the trees on the horizon. Pardon? Sorry, it's been
I'm just moving the headlights quickly so you can see that.
Oh,
That is very.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you asked me to put the other light on.
You have to delay it because I don't get the marker.
I've got to sit this side closer to the mic. No, Pete was just moving the infrared light for everyone. Just to see if we can get the best angle and stuff. This is one of the adults, Pete. I don't know if it's possible, but do you think you could scan just sort of behind her, going a little bit back? Yeah, but sort of a little bit to the left and stuff, just in case the other youngsters were still around. Because there was that termite mound. Oh, so far nothing, no. No, whether those youngsters seem to have gotten to. Our best bet is to be sitting quietly with this female for a moment. Not a moment, a little while. Gosh, look at me. No hat, everybody. I'm just there, she's starting to move. Okay, we can get back to normal, I think. They're going to regroup. Hunt's over for now. It's one of those hunts that I think for some of us, here she goes. Now that I can put the light back on. The prey item moved before they could initiate the hunt properly. Got all sorts of things flying up my legs. We've got a minefield of dead trees here. It'd be a miracle if we get through this without puncture. Well, you see, this is actually, sometimes this can be better than the hunt itself. We get the whole excitement of the hunt, but we don't get the sadness and the reality of it. I hope we can get through here because it's the suspense, it's the excitement, it's knowing that something is going on, and you're waiting for that sound. You're waiting for something to indicate that something's going on. Well, no. What I had was just the sound, because I was in bed and I could hear the whole thing going down, but it was just across our boundary. So I was dying to get into my Land Rover, and for me, the beauty of it was that it was just pre-full moon, so it was late at night. The moon that there was exceptionally high and bright. The year with no cloud, and I was just itching, like I was when I got back from Shivakani. Here we are. Gonna try and we'll get out onto the road. There we go. They're all lying on the road now. Oh wow! Hope we're gonna have signal here, folks. Good. There we go. Now we can actually, with all them out of here, we can actually give them a count. No, I think it's not all of them. I think it might be a couple. Yeah, no, I know, I've tried it, but it's not always easy. And we're about ready to head down the road. Is it better to be without lights, Pete? Better to be without lights entirely, or?
Yeah, that's cool. Picture breakups. Looking good. Everything's fine.
We're going to lose them. But now we get a total. Big female up front, second one is a female. Gosh, let's see if we can do this. Because actually we do need a little bit of light. Something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. Okay, I'm gonna try and move up and see if we can just keep touching them best we can. As you can see, right now that's pure red. We're a little bit far from them, and I'm just giving a. There we go. Now we're close enough to them. The infrared kicks in, and we're driving in pure darkness, just using infrared driving, looking at a monitor. And here we go. This is something I've been wanting to do for I don't know how long. I forgot that I still got to see where the road is. Can't take it for granted that they're walking on the road.
Hey, I'm on the big radio. Looking good, guys?
Don't go off the road. Oh, now let me see if I can pull out some of these wires. Go my spammers. That's why all these secret comm wires are caught up in the spotlight wire. That's why it's a spaghetti. There we go. Bit of a breeze coming up now. Lovely warm. Actually, it's not a breeze. It's like a warm wind blowing. There we go. Herman, how do you read? Cool. Okay, we're back on secret comm. me for the last one to stand up. And I'm just going to have a quick look with the spotlight to see everyone's still up on the road. Just creep up in infrared. I need one of those targets, you know, like crosshairs, so like almost like aircraft. I know, you can see the bull bar. I'm driving with a, what's this, about a 5-inch monitor.
Drive by wire.
Pardon?
Drive by wire.
Drive by wire? No, well, I don't know what it's called. All I can say is I was mentioning earlier when I was living in Tanzania, southern Tanzania, in the Selous Game Reserve many years ago, running a beautiful little camp there called Selous Safari Camp, and a Swedish chap was doing his PhD online, and I used to help him out, and used to spend a lot of time. If I had a few days off or something, instead of flying to Dar es Salaam and going to visit Hannah and diving in Zanzibar, or flying over to Mafia Island and diving in Mafia, I would just spend a couple of days with Goran Spong from Uppsala University doing his PhD, and he had a gorgeous little landy. Well, it wasn't little, it was big. It was a 110 station wagon decked out to the nines. And we'd just go out into Selous and spend 3-4 days. It was fully equipped with everything, and he had night vision, and it was the scariest thing being with him when he was driving through the Selous on the very few roads that exist in this, or rather existed in the Selous at the time. And I would be in the passenger seat. Of course, he only had one set of infrared night vision goggles, one-on-one. There was no magnification, and oh, they're coming back to us. Okay, we've got to move. They're moving. But anyways, there it was driving through the biggest game reserve in Africa in the pitch dark, lights on. And of course, I could see where he was going, but since I was in the passenger seat without. Okay, thanks, Herman. It's no doubt the wide angle.
Hello everyone, this is Herman in Final Control, and for those of you who are new with us here at Wild Earth, as you can see, the guys are basically using two infrared cameras. One is a very wide angle lens, almost fish eagle, and the other is a zoom lens. So often you'd get the color bars, which basically just means they're unplugging the one camera and plugging in the other one. But I'm going to leave it over to the guys on the vehicle to spend this awesome time with these Lion. So yeah, I'm going to go sound up on the vehicle again. Thank you very much for joining us on Wild Earth, and it's been great so far. Let's see how this evening turns out, and hopefully we'll see some more action with these Lions.
Oh, you mean up and down? Repeat, please.
For Summit.
Thanks, Herman. Well, judging by postures, once again, it seems they're sort of resuming an interest in something that they know is up ahead. They're kind of taking up a position. They're all facing the same direction. On the left of your screen, we've got this female. We see the back of her ears, the dark of her, and sort of to the right in the background, if you can almost make out to the right of your screen, another female, also just the back of her head. Yeah, nice, just moving off the picture now.
Should we go further back?
Further left, no, further left. Just there, yeah, there. Center frame now, almost. A little bit more left, Pete. Okay, there we go. There's and another lioness. Gives us a very, very good example, or rather view of the back of lionesses, or rather lion's ears, those dark markings behind the ears, tinged with a little bit of beige. Of course, the other cats are going to see this in the dark, and they're going to see the direction those ears are pointing, which is going to help them direct their own attentions. But okay, well, apart from now, she's probably hearing my voice and turning an ear to listen to me, but those ears were pretty concentrated forward, and so was the lioness on the left. Oh, that was the lioness on the left. There's still the other one on her right. But it's just a little bit there, yeah. Okay, there we go. You still see it there in the distance on the right side of the screen is that other lioness. Yeah, there we go. Just in that little bit of darkness. So once again, the suspense begins. Body language is telling me that they are listening to something. They are concentrating on something up ahead. This lioness now, she can see she heard something to her left, turned her head, listened, but the head goes straight back to what they're concentrating on. So slightly, you'll see though, it might be distracted very slightly, an ear will turn here or there, but as soon as they can identify what the distraction is and rule it out as anything of consequence, the ears go forward again to listen. I'm still thinking back to those buffalo when we were getting here, how they were, bless you girl, how we were just on our way here and trying to meet up with the net. They're looking back at us now. Incredible how through the infrared we get to see the tapetum lucidum, the layer of light reflective cells at the back of the eye. Even better with infrared light than we do with white light. The reason for that being that the pupils are fully dilated at the moment. With white light, of course, the pupils constrict, and with white light all we see is a tiny pinprick looking back into the tapetum. So right now in this darkness, here we go, time to move. Well, that's not exactly moving like it's hunting time, but a decision has been made to move along, so we'll see if everybody else is going to follow suit. Unless this is one lioness moving around to, yeah, could be. What's she doing? Putting her head down. Hunting strategy could possibly be. Copy, but who was that? Jack in New York. Hey Jack, New York. Where are you in New York, Jack? Stayed in Brooklyn Heights for a while. Not a while, just a few days. Some wonderful people that were living there at the time. And got a great kick out of looking across. What was it? The Hudson? No, the East River. Hudson's on the other side. Looking out across the East River and Manhattan and all those millions of people on the island of Manhattan. I've just got to quickly. Do you think she's still there? Ah, there we go. There's still a cat here, so I'm not gonna put on lights just yet. I think we still need to sit here in infrared. I think it's important that we don't put on too much white light if we don't need to. She's cleaning herself, so maybe nothing really happening right now. Gives us a chance to chat. So I was saying that I had this crazy idea of standing at a particular place somewhere and looking at Manhattan and shouting "Hello New York" across the river. And in 1996 I managed to get myself to the States and stopped off in New York. And apart from a brief stay in Long Island, Long Beach, on my way back to South Africa, I stayed in Brooklyn Heights in the summer. It was just the end of summer. In fact, it was I wouldn't be surprised it was exactly the same time of year, September. Still a lot of humidity. Cicadas were still singing. There was amazing bird life in Central Park. Red tails in Central Park. Red-tailed hawks, that is. And being able to stand on the Brooklyn Promenade and look across the East River to Manhattan and shout hellos to Manhattan. Thanks. Cool, Jack's on Long Island. Is that Nassau County, Jack? Ask you another question. Nassau County? Where about Long Island? I stayed out in Long Beach. It was pretty fun. I was there. I know where Long Island is, east of New York City. I was on Nassau County. But, Lion are moving. Oh no, they're not. Oops. I saw somebody moving. And they're not. We still got a lioness in front of us. So we're still not ready to go. But Long Island is big. It's not called Long Island for nothing. Yeah, it is time to move. No, now. Okay, thanks. Well, looks like this cat's lost faith in the rest of her pride in getting dinner tonight, because she's kind of gone lalapanzi. Let's move up a little bit. Looks like it's time that we can maybe sneak in a little bit closer and yeah, flat cats. Cats are flat. Thanks, Herman. Well, I'm going to disturb them there. I'm going to get to the left here. Suffolk County. That's probably further east than Nassau County, but I can't remember correctly. But Nassau County is pretty not that.
Hello everyone, this is Herman in Final Control, and as you can see the picture is breaking up quite badly at the moment. We're on our signal boundary, which means we possibly only get signal when the guys are stationary. The moment that happens, I'll be sure to put sound back up, but for the moment I don't want to cut away back to Gowrie Waterhole just because anything can happen at any time. So I'm going to stick on the vehicle, but sound's going to be down until picture and audio is good again.
It's a little bit delicate. We're on the edge of our broadcast range to get in a position where we're going to have a clear picture of the cat, perfect focus. Where we're going to have a nice perfect focus picture as well as having a good clear line of sight to broadcast. As you've noticed, we've sort of had picture breakups and things. We are on the limits, and well, we're still very, very lucky because we can just sort of roll a few inches and suddenly it's clearer pictures. Look how big those pupils are. That's what I was saying earlier, is in this darkness with their this is where how you can tell the difference between infrared and white light when you're looking at an animal, because the amount of light reflected out of the eye tells you how wide the pupils are. And in infrared light the pupils don't constrict, they're fully dilated at the moment, so we're getting these huge, if we had a fantastic camera we would be able to look into that eye and see a universe. There is an incredible depth. There's and if any of you have domestic cats, it can happen with dogs. Just dogs are just too hyperactive to keep their heads still long enough. But for those of you who have cats, because cats are just so mellow, if you can ever get to this position where a cat is either lying on your chest or sitting on your lap and looking into your eyes, and you have the light reflecting just right to look deep into those pupils and look back into the tapetum, it's bottomless. There's a light and there is a depth. I'm not saying it doesn't happen with dogs. cats and my girlfriend. My girlfriend sadly doesn't have a tapetum. Or maybe I'm lucky she doesn't have a tapetum to see what I do in the dark. No, I'm talking about, I'm passionate about cats. What can I say? Pardon? I don't think Spielberg, no, I don't think the movie industry thought of that. I don't think those contact lenses can replicate the tapetum lucidum. I think some people even say lucidum tapetum. I'm sure it's tapetum lucidum. But I've seen a similar depth to the eyes of some fish that I've dived with on reefs. And one of them, in fact one of the most remarkable, because it's a fish that stays dead still, and if there isn't too much current and too much sway under the ocean, it's called a leaf fish. And I've had the occasion to find a few leaf fish in my time, either off Zanzibar or Mafia Island in southern Tanzania, and held on to the rocks to stay in the same place, and just put my mask almost right up to the leaf fish to get an in-depth look into that eye. And it's the same thing. If you had to point the Hubble to sort of the Horsehead Nebula of Orion, it's not even as bright as the eye of a leaf fish, and the depth and the, I don't know, can't explain it. If you know the enormity of a nebula and the depth of a leaf fish's eye, perhaps you could comprehend something of what I'm saying. I just maybe can't articulate it very well. Cats are patient. Cats are just waiting. Cats are, I would imagine that they might have made a bit of an effort, and they're just sort of recuperating. Believe it or not, as much as I've seen these cats this evening, I still haven't really broken down the composition. There were those 4 cubs, one sub-adult, 3 youngsters. They hooked up with that other one. Looked like there was 9 earlier on the road. 5 and 4. Yes. M is for Mike, but yeah, now I know who he is. So what, I must just say who he is on chat. Okay. Herman's asking me to enlighten you. The Jack I'm talking to in New York, up on Long Island, is known as ex-dog man. Dogs. You know, like the Brooklyn Dog and Coffee Dogs. Dog, D-A-W-G. So he's ex-dog man. And I hope my accent's pretty okay there. I don't know if Sally in New York is watching. I'm sure Sally's got a pretty good New York accent. If you're from New York, that is. Of course, New York is so cosmopolitan, I don't know if one finds that many New Yorkers anymore. All my time I spent in Brooklyn Heights, I heard very few Brooklynites. I hear more on TV shows than in real life. Well, there's a very good shot of a right ear of a cat with a very nice V notch out of her right ear. You don't get more of a perfectly straight notch than that, and might be worth keeping note of it, and slowly but surely building up some sort of an ID base of how we can differentiate these cats within each pride. I still haven't spent enough time with them to get whisker spot patterns and to do the ear markings and any other scars that are visible or permanent. I normally would ride around with a few sort of flip cards, and on each card I'd do a rough sketch of the two ears, the basic shape of the face with the triangle, the upside down triangle of the nose, and I would mark in any nicks in the ears and any scars on the face, as well as write in formula for the whisker pattern. But the kind of stuff we do with Wild Earth, we don't really get much. Not that we don't get time for it. It's just that it gets a little bit more difficult to get those kind of details, those intricate details down, and my best opportunities are moments like this when we've got cats at rest. We're using infrared. Of course, we could do this during the day. We could do this any time that we're watching an AO static or lying down or flat cats or lalapanzi, whatever way you want to put it. But there's got to be a starting point, and so we can sort of make a heading: Styx Pride, one female, V notch. So sort of 11 o'clock on the right ear, or 1 o'clock if you're standing behind her. Quite often, if lion have made an attempt and animals have become aware of their presence, it's quite prudent to just lie down, lay low, keep quiet for a bit, let everything return to normal. Unfortunately, I didn't hear any alarm calls. Certainly the zebra didn't shout. The zebra got whiff or something and they just kind of moved off, just judging by their hoofbeats, and at the same time just judging by her, the lioness that we were watching, judging by her reactions when there were the sounds of hoofbeats. Clearly she also knew that it was pointless making an attempt or taking a run for whatever it was that we were hearing. Well, it was zebra running, I knew that. But there weren't any alarm calls, and I think had there been any alarm calls, had there been a very clear distinction that the zebra were being hunted, and not only the zebra gave alarm calls, but there might have been the odd bird that got disturbed or something. I think perhaps they would have carried on moving. They might have had to move at least a considerable distance away from here to an area where they hadn't been detected yet. And my guess is the fact that they're now relaxed the way they are is they're just waiting for things to calm down a little bit. If they were to continue walking now and raise the alarm from any other creature right now, it would almost be a confirmation to everything that they're lying here. So it could very well be that what they're doing now is just sort of keeping a low profile, letting all the crickets and everything else return to their normal chirping. I'm not sure if they have anything in mind, but what they will likely do, most likely do, is eventually get up and start moving again in the way that they do, select a direction, and whatever prey species they come across, develop some sort of hunting tactic for whatever it is they need to hunt under the conditions that they might that they might find themselves. The posture is not a completely relaxed posture. She's lying, her head is straight forward and flat down. It's not the kind of posture that I would expect to find a cat sleeping in. This is the kind of catnap posture. It's the kind of posture that I'm up and ready if I need to be. Doesn't look very, very comfortable, as you can see. You can see her shoulders are a little bit hunched. Head is flat. She's just waiting for the sound, waiting for something to happen. If there was any indication that nothing was going to happen and they were just going to sort of pass the time for the rest of the night, they'd probably be flat on their side or back on their backs again, legs in the air, probably fast asleep, doing more than just catnapping. But my guess is the fact that she's lying the way she is, both front feet still on the ground, shoulders parallel to the ground, she could be up in a flash. What I can do, I guess, and really possibly wouldn't hurt, since there's no active hunting going on, is to do a quick pan with the spotlight above all of them, just to see if we can see anything else, and just to see what our surroundings are right now. I think we could safely do that without interfering in anything that's really happening right now. So I'm just going to have a quick look with the spotlight with using some human light. Okay, I managed to see a bunch of the others. This one that we're looking at is off to our left, and I managed to see a bunch of others just straight ahead of us that are a little bit more comfortable than she is. In other words, sleeping a little bit more, or rather, no, not more, rather less alert. Oh. What's that noise? It's heard a strange noise. Do the same thing she heard. My sound is drowned out by the machines next to me. Let's see. I don't know if that was an owl or what. Did you hear that, Pete?
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't quite identify that sound. Beautiful termite mound there. Gosh. Oh, sorry. Heads are up. Cats are listening to something. Switch my light off again. A hyena in the distance. You can see these ears moving. You can see these ears moving to focus on the sound of hyena in the distance. I would guess that that's probably coming from the den, probably about a kilometer away from where we are. Kilometer and a half. Okay, go ahead. Thanks, Herman. And hi, Julie. Julie, let us know where you're from. And interesting question from Julie, wanting to know if the males are nearby and whether they're going to join in the hunt. And this group of lionesses and youngsters at this stage of the game are moving pretty much independent of males. There is a group of dominant males within this area. We call it a coalition of males when there are a bunch of young males or males that rule over a territory. And the males that rule over this territory are a bunch of males known as the Mapojos. They're kind of getting on in years, but they've caused a little bit of havoc with the lion prides in this northern part of the Sabi Sand over the last couple of years. And one group that has been severely adversely affected by the Mapojos is this little group of what we know as the Styx pride. And as far as sort of another part of your question is concerned, I mean, every single male, or rather every single pride of lion lives by different rules. I guess what I'm saying is that there's no real set way that it all happens. I mean, Disney, that wonderful movie The Lion King with Disney, does give some sort of idea to people that there's a big male and he's the ruler over his pride and he's the king, etc., etc. But it's not necessarily the case. And more often than not these days one has a coalition of males looking, or rather defending a pride territory. And particularly when there are youngsters around, the females they're not going to be in estrus until the youngsters have moved on. So as long as they're not in estrus and there's no mating to be done, but there is mostly only eating to be done, the females would rather not be with the males, because the males invariably will take the meat away. The males will dominate over the kill sites. So the females do tend to, in a lot of cases, do tend to move around just with the youngsters and try and avoid, if possible, avoid the males, because, well, the males not only dominate over the kills and prevent the youngsters getting food, but there's also the youngsters being in danger or under threat from dominant males, particularly if they're not the dominant males that raise those cubs. The intricacies of pride behavior and male dominance and female movement without the males and hunting and males joining in certain times isn't as cut and dried as one would imagine, that we could say, well, it happens this way or it happens that way. Here's an ant lion, adult, one of the first of the season, flying around my monitor. Sorry, insects, you know me. I have observed on many occasions, many prides in places that I've lived where we have a dominant male and he moves around with these females and they have the cubs and they make a kill and he participates when it's a big kill and he doesn't when it isn't. And sometimes the lionesses kill a warthog and they leave it for him and go off with the cubs and kill something for themselves and the cubs. And sometimes they all participate in the same kill if it's a giraffe or a buffalo or a big wildebeest or something. But I think if one has to look at any creature and particularly the social creatures, there's no end to the combination of structures within a social group, and humans are a perfect example of that to some degree. Humans and perfect in the same sentence shouldn't really be used, but in terms of examples, we don't abide by this sort of monogamous ideal that everybody thinks we should do, mum and dad and kids. Sadly, modern day living kind of detracts from that. It kind of, and we end up with really skewed family values, fatherless families, lack of paternal care or paternal responsibilities. Well, they gone into flat cat mode. Look at her, she's flat as well. Sorry, I'm just looking at all of them. They kind of gone back into full-on cat sleeping mode, except for one or two of them. Are you trying to get her? Thanks, Julie. Lake District in the UK. And I'm not sure if I've finished with Julie's question because Ivy's come through with a question. I'll get to Ivy. I think, Julie, just as far as this pride is concerned, the dominant males that live here, the Mapojos, are actually not fond of this little group of females because there are some... Is it this one? No, they are. I think they are fine with the Styx, they're not fine with the Kahumas. There's a lot of disruption here, that's all I can say. There's just far too much disruption in what that's going on here with these big dominant males that are now sort of reaching the end of their dominance, reaching the end of their prime, their manhood. They're starting to split up now into groups. I think there were 6 Mapojos. We're now finding them in small groups, 2 here, 2 there. I don't know them very well. I've seen them very, very rarely. But nonetheless, they are moving on, and this whole area is opening up to the possibility of new males coming in. We did have some nomadic males coming to sort of sniff around earlier, the month I think it was, or just before I went on leave, some sub-adult males. So certainly everybody's got to really, this is one of the things about Wild Earth, is you want to find out what's going to go on, stay tuned, because there are very, very interesting times ahead here for the lion prides in this area. We've got the Kahumas, the Styx, the Windmill pride, we've got the Manyaleti group up in the north, and the males that have been causing havoc are kind of moving on in age, and it's going to be time for there to be some new blood coming in, and hopefully new blood that isn't as formidable as a coalition of 6 rather bad-tempered male lion that did cause a little bit of havoc. Of course, there are very strong reasons why nature has created this cycle of lion killing lion. They are an apex predator, pretty much. They are right up there on the top of the food chain, and when you are up on the top of the food chain, there have to be mechanisms in place that you don't kind of overextend yourself as a species to maintain your population levels. And one of those mechanisms is the succession of dominant males within an area, and new males moving in, killing off youngsters, females coming into estrus to produce cubs for the new males that are dominant in the area. And one of the main reasons for that is ensuring that the cubs have at least a few years with dominant males to be able to raise those cubs to maturity, because if dominance changed far too often, cubs would keep getting killed, and that has become such a strong feature in the ecology of lion, for example, or rather, for want of a better phrase, that lionesses now will even come into a false estrus and mate with new males in the area and sort of hold back and I don't know how it's done. That's nature's wonderful way of doing things. But it'll only be after a while of ensuring that the new male or males can hold the territory for a number of years that they will finally fall pregnant, under the impression that the new males are going to be able to protect them and their cubs until the cubs reach maturity. But yeah, Ivy, Herman, just please remind me, what was Ivy's question? Because
The moment I don't have any lines that I can properly get pictures of.
okay,
I think the camera is so low that I
can't get any of them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move around. Let's try to, while we're here, let's just move around to the rest of the sleeping group. You see, I've been talking so long, I didn't even think we could move. And yeah, as I'm moving, Jack, because I don't want to talk while I'm moving, Jack, we've got one lioness that is so close to us on our left-hand side. If I look now quickly, I would say 10, 15 feet, 4 or 5 meters. And Ivy, we can't show, I don't know if we can show it to you, but as we're moving, if you look at her, I want to try and get to the other group, but she's on the ground here. She's so flat, she's not even going to look up while I'm moving away. She's 10, 12 feet away from me. And she's not even lifting on a road. Okay. Understand, that's no audio while I'm moving. I'll talk to you now, Ivy. How's that looking, Herman? Sorry, I was talking over your picture. Good, sound good? Okay, now I can talk to Ivy. And Jack, no, sorry. Yeah, she was so close to us. And Ivy wanting to know how we can be so close to these lions and not disturb them. Gosh, where do I start? First of all, I guess what I can say is that we're in an area where only game drive vehicles drive around, and that has bearing on how animals behave to a large degree, because the only people that drive these vehicles are qualified guides who have an understanding about animal behavior and how to approach and how to deal with animals. And it's that very consistency in our behavior and in human behavior. And while it might be a vehicle, it is a human behind the vehicle. And so overall there's a consistency in behavior that can be predictable to the cats and the elephants and all the animals that we see. They have somehow become accustomed to the fact that the vehicles around them are neither a threat to them, they are not food. Perhaps sometimes, sadly, the vehicles drive a little bit fast and approach a little bit fast or a little bit too close. But I think it's the overall behavior of the vehicles in general that these animals all grow up with that makes them accustomed to the fact that the vehicles are merely something that invades, something that comes into their lives from time to time, makes a noise, it smells, there are humans on it, passive, and it's not anything to be concerned about. This is a process that begins when these animals are youngsters. Almost every animal, except for some of the big old elephants that move around here, but almost every other animal within the Sabi Sand Game Reserve that we come across has grown up to game drive vehicles, has grown up to the fact that there are these vehicles here, and the consistency in behavior that has taken place with these vehicles has given these animals an idea that they can move freely amongst us and not worry about the vehicles chasing them. And by the same token, they never grow up for the predators, but at least they never grow up watching their parents chase vehicles and hunt them down and feed on them. And as silly as that may sound, it's a valid point, because that is how these animals learn what prey items they need to hunt as adults. Of course, a lot of it has got to do with flavors in the milk when they're suckling, and the entire process that a predator goes through to teach the youngsters what exactly is a prey item, starting from letting them crawl or climb all over a kill and pretending to kill it all over again, to sometimes even catching baby animals and giving them young animals to play with and learn how to kill. And as sad as that may sound, it's a vital process in teaching youngsters how to hunt and what it is they need to hunt. But if we look at a place like the Kruger National Park even, which is open to the public, any one of you out there can fly to South Africa and hire a car from Avis, and it can be a four-door sedan, it could be any car you can think of, a Mercedes even, and you could drive through the Kruger National Park. See some of the very same animals that we see here, some of course just their counterparts in different territories. And although the consistency in behavior is not as strict as it is in a private reserve with all the game rangers driving around, there are very strict rules in the Kruger National Park that govern what vehicles may or may not do. And of course, while some people may drive fast and some people misbehave, because it is a national park, it can't be policed, they are fortunately the minority, and the majority of people that go through the national parks are extremely passionate and fond of wildlife and want to experience the best that they can without having to have a guide, without having to have the restrictions of time that happens in the private lodges. When you stay in Kruger, you can drive all day if you want. And one of the strongest rules are that you may only stay on the roads, and most of the roads are tarmac or asphalt, I think is the name in the States. So you sometimes even get big tour buses. And the animals have just simply learned that the vehicles are not a threat. I think in some places in the States and in some of the, maybe, I know there are a couple of safari parks in the UK. Okay, a safari park is a little different because these animals, people think that they're relatively tame living in a safari park, but nonetheless, these animals are very well aware that the vehicles are neither a threat or food. So Ivy, I hope that answers your question. My guess is whatever it is that they were keeping track of audibly, keeping track of with their ears and the sound earlier, must have maybe moved off. They've gone back into cat mode, a very important mode to be in for a cat. And what it really is all about, something I mentioned earlier about all the energy dynamics of everything, is that if there's no foreseeable hunt on the go, the best thing is to just flop over and go to sleep. Energy consumption and energy conservation has to be balanced very, very carefully. Okay, thanks. Not sure who's driving in the morning. I hope I am. It'd be nice to come and look for them again. It's nice to sort of keep that sort of flow going. I tried it the other day with the rhino that I saw in the evening and tried to sort of follow up on his tracks the next morning, but it didn't work. It's not always as easy as it sounds, or as easy as it might seem, or as easy as I might even think it is. I don't think so. I think that I would be. Don't know, Pete. They could sleep for 5 minutes and be up if they hear something. They could also sleep for an hour and then get up and move again. I don't think that they need to. Personally, my personal feeling is they don't need to move again unless they're going out on a hunt. My guess is that they might do so early morning, sort of say after about 4 in the morning, coming in towards daylight, early dawn. Could be then. There's very little midnight. There's very little activity that goes on in the bush. The bulk of activity that happens is your first couple of hours after sunset and your first couple of hours before sunrise, when most of your nocturnal animals are active. Middle of the night, dog watch, witch's hour, whatever you want to call it, it does kind of slow down a little bit. Not much is happening. And it could very well be that they might sleep here for the night. It could well be that they might still be here in the morning. I don't think so. I think by the time daylight rises, they will need to be somewhere else. They will need to be away from where their scent is. Their possibilities are endless. If something caught their attention, for example, I mean, if they heard the hyena hunting or they heard an animal give an alarm, they might start moving in that direction. This is when patience is tested. This is when we can test whether us humans have even an inkling or a smattering of the patience of cats. Because we could sit here all night. If we had the batteries and we had the power to do so, I would gladly sit here. Flask of tea and some biscuits or cookies and some snacks during the night, and some good company for some good conversation during the night. As you can see, I'm sitting here talking quite close to them. Their ears are not even turning in my direction. I'm just as monotone to them, possibly, in much the same way as that most of the other animals that might call around within their characteristic sounds, pretty much ignored unless it's something that they can eat. But I'm happy to sit here for the next while. If everybody else is happy to just be patient and see if something can change in the next few minutes. Jigger has been going for most of the afternoon. Have you done a battery change yet? Pardon? We still got another little bank of batteries. Don't know how long they'd last. I think they were only lasting about half an hour or so of backup. But for the next 10 or so minutes at least, we'll sit and watch, and glad to answer questions, keep them coming in. I hope you can get some sort of feeling of what it's like to sit in the darkness. I mean, we're in pitch darkness here. The only artificial light is from our two monitors, mine and Pete's. Way in the distance I can see lights. I don't know, that could be Acorn Oak and Bushbuck Ridge, probably. Looks like fairly big villages, towns. And I'm guessing that they must be maybe 30-40 miles away. Lights twinkling, maybe not that far, 20-30 miles. But they are on the horizon. And few crickets that I can hear. Not much of a cacophony sound. I don't hear any owls. But I do. I think I hear a scops above the noise of machines. When I click my microphone, the monitor goes funny. Rolling over. Snap. Thanks. And thanks, Shelley. Hi, Shelley. Shelley Downey. Shelley, I don't think I've spoken to you before. And where's Shelley from? But Shelley's saying, or asking rather, for me to enlighten you a little bit on the merits of infrared light and how it is that we can view them. And why it is, for that matter, it looks like there's a bright white spotlight on them. And there you see what Pete is doing there is he's moving up and down. Do that again, Pete. Look at the back of the lioness sleeping with her leg in the air. What Pete is moving around is actually an infrared light. Now, you could be in the pitch darkness and switch on an infrared light, it would still be pitch black. What one needs is the infrared equipment to see that infrared beam, because in what infrared is, it's only one tiny part of the spectrum of light that is not white light. So it's red light, or it's infrared light, because it's not just plain red light, it's actually infrared, which means that its frequency is so high that if I have to, let me just digress quickly, Shelley, for the benefit of that person that needs to benefit from this. If we look at sound waves, for example, and we look at the decibel levels that a human ear can hear, because let's face it, we're talking about sound waves and light waves. So we are hearing a frequency of waves between a particularly low frequency and a particularly high frequency. Anything higher we don't hear, anything lower we don't hear. In other words, we hear the bats when the bat's frequency is low enough to match our highest frequencies. But when the bat's frequency gets exceptionally high, when they're catching insects and echolocating, we don't hear it at all, because the frequency of sound is so high that it is beyond our audible perception. And light works in a very, very similar way. Light is a matter of waves and frequencies. And the frequency of different colors of light is what can be picked up by the human eye in different manners. And now, if you think about it, X-ray is a particular frequency of light that we can't see with the naked eye, and ultraviolet is a particular frequency of light that we can't see with the naked eye, or with the human eye, should I say. Let's face it, there are birds see ultraviolet light, insects see ultraviolet, and so it is with infrared. Well, no, not that birds and insects see in infrared, but certainly infrared is a spectrum of light. It is one of those frequencies of light that us as humans cannot pick up with our eye. However, being as industrious as we are and as inventive as we are, we have managed to find this out, and we've managed to create artificial sources of infrared light. And so what we have, and I'll be able to show this to you in fact maybe when we're on the way out from these lines, just before I close down and say goodnight to everybody, I will gladly get out onto the road where I can get out of the vehicle and I can put the white light on, and I can show you the difference between white light and infrared light from the two different spotlights, and maybe I can give you an idea of what each one looks like. But essentially, what we have next to the infrared camera now, if we just had, Pete, with the lioness on, can you switch the infrared light off, the infrared spotlight? Okay. So what we're getting is we're still getting light coming in, but there's no real definition coming in. There's still some sort of glow coming in from it. So it'll help when we put the infrared light on. It helps for the infrared of the camera. There we go. Helps for the infrared of the camera to read that infrared light. With the human eye, we don't see that frequency, which is why Pete and I can sit here in the pitch darkness. We can't see where these lions are. We only know where they are because Pete can point the camera in that direction, and we know, okay, well, lioness is there. Or conversely, I can switch on the white light and flip the white light around, and then of course us pathetic lower creatures like humans that we are, and I only mean that in the way that we're just not built for nature anymore. Nature's just got things in nature, just got so many more advanced features than us. But us simple humans that don't see in infrared, well, it's just darkness for us until we put on white light. So what we're seeing that looks like actually a white spotlight is in fact an infrared spotlight. The reason we're not seeing it in red is because the equipment we have that reads it is monochrome. So we're seeing it in different shades of black and white, or well, just monochrome, grey. And for those of you who were around before color TVs came out, that's basically what it is. And well, Shelley, I hope that helps. I hope that kind of explains things. The other thing that I can suggest is we've got the two cameras at the waterhole at Gari Dam, and although we're still working on getting the other camera up on its tilt and pan head, it is still the new camera that we have closer to the water has got very much like the dog den. For those of you at the dog den, it's exactly the same camera head, or rather housing, that has two infrared spotlights on either side of it. And we had the same issue when we started with the dog den. Why are you having a big bright white spotlight? And it took a while to convince people that it's not a big bright white spotlight, that actually all it really is two focused beams of infrared spotlights focused on the same point to make it appear as though it's a big white spotlight. And the way we can prove that is that we have the old camera at Gari Dam, the one that we use all day to pan around and look at all the animals. And if we had to zoom that in towards the new camera, all we would see would be a little bit of infrared light coming off of that new camera. We wouldn't see a big bright white light. And that, I would say, is about the best way that we can prove that our infrared lights are not shining white light. Hey Pete, wouldn't you say that's about the best thing? But yeah, Okay, Shelley's in the UK. Lowe's Toft. I don't know where that is. Shelley sounds pretty fancy to me. Lowe's Toft. Legs in the air. Cats are sleeping. Well, we once again we tried to be with them during a hunt. Well, we were with them with the hunt. I think it was pretty exciting. Watching that lioness, almost statuesque as she was stalking, trying to put one foot down and then the other. I think that was about one of the best things that we can get. We can sort of get from this evening, the last hour or so. At this stage of the game, although they might be up and at it within seconds if anything came along, we do have to find ourselves back onto the road and start making our way back to camp, unfortunately. Get Jigger onto charge and well, get some sleep, I guess. You know, you've got to do these things, but also we've got to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for everybody in the morning. For those of you who are going to join us for our morning drive, if anybody's still going to be up in the Western Hemisphere, and if anybody's going to be up that early in our hemisphere, like Loft Tours. What's it? Yeah, those places in the UK. So let's say goodnight to the Styx. I'll do a little sweep. You can see the difference now, how bright it is. I'm going to put on the white spotlight, just briefly, just to sort of scan the area, and you'll see how bright it comes through on the infrared. One, two, three, 4. Exceptionally bright on infrared. It's not as bright as it looks. I'm trying to find out how I'm going to extricate myself from here without causing too much commotion. Looks like I can reverse back that way. So folks, we're going to leave these cats, as much as perhaps none of us really want to, but I'm going to go and do what they're doing. Yeah, no, we can have some dinner too. I was thinking about closing my eyes and putting my head on my paws and purring myself to sleep. Good night, children. Not even looking at us. They weren't not even lifting their heads to say good night.
What is this with the batteries?
What, that they're still working? Go figure. You're breaking up. Mark's what?
Question was from Francis, explaining the black.
Ah, okay. Francis. Hello, Francis. Asking about the black marks, the markings behind Lion's ear. Let's go out there maybe. Oh, hey madam. Did hear me come past there. Good night, children. I hope you get something to eat tonight.
Hello everyone, this is Herman in Final Control, and I just quickly cut away to Gary Wartall with the infrared camera and light. Mark is just quickly getting out of the bush there. When they're back on the road, he's just quickly going to say goodbye to you guys. But so long from me. Thank you very much for joining us on this absolute awesome event, spending time with these great lions, and hopefully we'll see them again in the morning. Tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock Central African time. We'll also be driving around Djuma Game Reserve once again, like every day. So please join us again for that, and stick around for Mark when he will be saying goodbye in the next minute or so.
Don't have signal, coming down on Triple M going up to Gary Main. Thanks so much. Gosh, that was really fun, and looking forward to doing this again one of these evenings, or next night drive. Gosh, what am I saying? We can do this every night drive. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for the questions and everything. I think I still owe Francis an answer tomorrow. Francis, remind me please. From me, Mark, Pete behind camera, and Herman back in Final Control. Been great having you along. It's been really wonderful experience doing this infrared stuff. So bye for now. See you all.